Well-rounded dude viewers and listeners, this is the first ever crossover event, and I have one of my very good friends here with me. We're going to talk about a topic that's been getting a lot of attention lately. We're going to talk about the list. The list where the girls tell us the places they don't want to go on a first date. We're going to break down the list. We're going to talk about it. We're going to give our opinions. It's going to be a ride. Now, I got to introduce my friend, my brother from another mother, Elliot Parker. We've been friends for 3 years, one of my best friends. His perspective, he is married with 2 children. I am single with no children. Knock on wood that I know of. And we're going to get started. So, Elliot, thank you for coming on the show. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Chris. It's been a long time coming, but very excited to be here. So yeah, in a nutshell, pretty much 37, as you alluded to earlier. Married. I've been married for 5 years now. I've got 2 children. I've got a little boy who's 1 year old next month, and I've got a 3-year-old daughter. In 2 days, she'll be 3. So yeah, that's been pretty hectic. Living in Australia currently, I've been here almost 11 years now. I emigrated from England on the 6th of December 2012. So, been a while. Been a while over here. Big change in pretty much every aspect of my life, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Would not change it for the world. So, yeah, met Chris, as you said, 3 years ago now in Atlanta, and feels like we've been friends for a lot longer. 3 years just doesn't give this friendship justice, I don't think. So, yeah.
I, I agree. I agree. All right, brother, let's get into this list because I know when I saw it, I felt pretty angry. I don't know if angry is the right word, but I did feel, no, I guess angry is the right word. You know, I was upset. Some of the places on this list, I can understand. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break down the list, and we may go a little bit quicker for those at home. We're going to show you the list, and then we're going to talk about it. Now, I don't know if Elliot, if in Australia, if you have all of these places. Some of these are franchise restaurants. I don't know if you have, but I'll do my best to explain it to you if you don't. And I think we should hop into it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
are you
Let's get
ready?
started. Always ready,
Okay.
brother.
All right. I got the list up. Now, the first one we're going to talk about is the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
Do you guys have a Cheesecake Factory in Australia?
I don't think we have the same franchise, but I'm pretty sure that we've got a Cheesecake Factory-esque type place. Yeah, I can't say that I've ever been there myself, but yeah, I can imagine the sort of vibe that goes on there. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have not personally been to a Cheesecake Factory, but I have had the food. Recently, during a work lunch, uh, my boss bought us some pasta there, and I had the spaghetti and meatballs. Spaghetti and meatballs cost about $22 in US.
Right, okay.
That is a lot for spaghetti and meatballs.
I'm going to get my converter. I'm going to get my converter out and I'm going to see this because I believe that is quite expensive for spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah.
And you said
Yes.
$25 US. You keep going, brother, while
Yeah.
I have a little look at this.
Yeah. So I
Woo!
think what bothers me. I'm sorry.
38. That's $38 Australian. There's no way I'm paying
Okay.
that.
Yeah. And that was the cheapest option out of the stuff that the guys got that day. Was
Wow.
the spaghetti and meatballs. Now, one of the things that bothers me so much about this list is these are places that we would normally take women on a date. Like some of the things on this list, I've taken women on dates too, and it just seems like coming from their perspective, it's a little stuck up, you know, to say that you're not going to go to a Cheesecake Factory especially when I just said spaghetti meatballs. There's $21, $22.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for spaghetti meatballs. Like I'll pay good money for a good meal, but I can make spaghetti meatballs at home for like $5. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a lot of money for spaghetti meatballs. 100%.
Uh, yeah. So I mean, it's not like it's a cheap place. It's a pretty decent uh it's a pretty decent chunk of change to take somebody to the Cheesecake Factory.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Uh, Number two on this list, and you guys may catch on if you've seen the list, you probably know, but a lot of these are franchise places, and while they may not serve the same food, it's pretty much the same vibe. So, number two is Applebee's. Do you guys have Applebee's in Australia?
Not that I'm aware of. No. No, I don't. I don't think we do. But again, I've seen. Excuse me. I've seen enough American movies where they have Applebee's in the movie. So yeah, again, I'd sort of get the idea of what it is, and again, the vibe.
Yeah, it's it's a place to go for food. It's not expensive. I mean, I would say it's a little bit more affordable than the Cheesecake Factory, but
Mhm.
there's actually a country song where they sing about Applebee's on date night. So it's like,
Yeah. Wow. Okay, it's a thing. Yeah. All right.
yeah, I'm sure you've heard the song, right?
Can you sing it for me? Actually, I don't think I remember it.
Yeah, we bougie like Applebee's on a date night with the bourbon street steak and the Oreo shake and the whipped cream. Two straws, one check, girl, I got you. It's all
Nah,
in the song.
Yeah, that's good. I actually can't say that I have heard that, my friend. No.
Okay.
But yeah,
We'll
like you said,
continue
there's a
moving.
natural song about it. Yeah, I mean, just before we continue, yeah, like any of these women that are literally refusing to go to any of these franchises, like, what are they expecting on a first date? Are they expecting you to go and drop $500 at a boutique restaurant or something, for example? I mean, this is a first date where the woman is probably expecting you to pay anyway, in the sort of old-fashioned sense of things. Um, uh, I've I have experienced a lot of times where you'll take a woman out for food and you'll be used for that meal.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So like, why should the man cough up hundreds of dollars to sort of just sit next to someone who probably has no intention of taking it any further? They just want a nice meal. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
have a little bit of respect.
I 100% agree. Now, the video in question where the lady was complaining about being taken to Cheesecake Factory,
I saw
uh,
it.
you saw it, and when the
I did
guy
see that one.
asked, like, yeah, like, why aren't you taking me there? And it's like, well, because of this. I'm a beautiful woman, and you're taking me to a franchise restaurant.
Like, is that all they're bringing to the table? Is the way that they look? Like, and I mean, in my personal opinion, she wasn't all that anyway, but that's completely besides the point. It doesn't matter if you're a supermodel or if you're, not. I hate women that, yeah, just play on that.
Yeah,
Hate's a strong word. I'm going to take that back. I don't hate women, but it frustrates me.
yes, yep, I'm with you there, man. It's it's a shame that there are women like that that are, you can't take me to this restaurant. It has to be this kind of restaurant, this very expensive restaurant. If you're not
Yeah,
spending $500 in the tab, then you're not.
worthy of my time. And then it's just like,
Yeah,
okay, so what is it that you do exactly, and how much is it that you earn? And like, they want you to spend all this money, but what are you actually bringing to the table? I'm not talking about looks or anything like that, but like as a person, as soon as a woman would if ever a woman would say to me, "Oh, you're not taking me there," look at me, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna look at the back of your head while you walk away from me now, then, because I'm not interested. So,
yeah.
you know, I'm at the age now where
Well,
being married, obviously, it's too late for me, but yeah, um, there's more to life than looks. looks fade.
Exactly. I 100% agree. Let's get back to this list because it doesn't get any better.
The list. Yeah, that's right.
Number 3 is Chili's. Now, I love ribs, so I'm always down for ribs. If you're turning down ribs, that's a problem. Do you guys have Chili's in Australia?
We don't have Chili's, but we definitely have places that serve ribs and small rack of ribs, or like the big Kahuna ribs, like big daddy ribs, like yeah, crazy. Like almost like I see it as an eating challenge size portion, but it's not. It's just regular size portion. But Chris, I don't know if ribs is a good first date idea. Um, unless you want to show them how sort of good you are with your fingers and tongue, maybe. But no. It can get messy. It can get messy.
I'll give you that. But there are other options at Chili's. It's not just ribs. There's all kinds of other options. So yeah, I agree with you. And that's actually a good point because some of the other items on this list kind of fall under that category. Okay. And it's good for a debate.
I love a debate.
Yeah. But again, here, going to Chili's, a rack of rib meal, let's just say, is like $26.
Okay. That's not cheap. It's not cheap. So you're not taking them to like some back street restaurant. Like you're paying pretty decent money.
Yeah, you're not taking them to some burger joint or whatever. Next on the list is Chipotle. Now, I have never eaten at a Chipotle. I personally, do you guys have Chipotle in Australia?
No. Again, we may have in the cities, in the big cities, but not that I'm familiar with. You'd have to enlighten me actually as to what type of food that they do.
So it's Mexican. They mainly serve like burritos. Okay.
Yeah.
And you wait in line and you tell them, do you guys have Subway?
Yeah, we've got Subway. Yeah.
Okay, so it's basically like Subway but burritos. Yeah. So how you order a sub is how you're going to order your burrito.
We have multiple things like that, but a popular one is Zambreros. Exactly the same principle. Do you want a burrito bowl, or do you want like this is what you do first? You pick your meat, you pick your this, that, and the other, and it's the same as Subway but burritos, like Mexican style, pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, okay. Yeah, and that's Chipotle. Okay.
Oh yeah, pretty much. And I mean, so I don't think that that's like the best place to take somebody on a first date, but so I kind of agree with this one. Next is Olive Garden.
Now, before you go on, I have heard so much about Olive Garden, and it's probably the biggest franchise I know of in America, I think, other than your McDonald's and that. But Olive Garden, what is the go there? What is that place? What do they serve? And why is it so not popular, but why is it so big?
Italian food.
Okay.
So you're getting your spaghettis, any kind of Italian food that you could think of, but it's not like high-end Italian food. I mean, I think it's a good place for a date. I've been on dates at Olive Garden before.
Okay. First dates?
So it's a good place to go. But I mean, if you're like traditional Italian food, Olive Garden isn't the place to go.
Gotcha. Would it offend if I was an Italian person, like born and bred in Italy, and I've come to America, and I walk into an Olive Garden? Is it the sort of place that would offend me? Is it like, does it make a mockery of Italy? Is it like, no, it's not like that. Okay.
No.
Yeah, right.
It's just Italian food.
Yeah, okay. It's just
I've actually eaten there with an Italian before.
Okay.
And he liked it. It was his choice of places to go. It's just
free bread. To get free breadsticks, is that a thing?
Yeah, all you can eat breadsticks, and salad.
I mean, if you're taking the girl,
Will come with
if
your
you're
meal.
taking the girl for that, then that's probably not the best idea. But
But it's kind of the draw. You know what I
it
mean?
entices
So
you in. But like, if there's nothing else offered, and it's just like, hey, I've brought you to Olive Garden, you can only have the breadsticks and the salad. Then that's what I'm talking about. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll share a Coke.
But yeah, that's too funny. But yeah, it's again, it's reasonably
Mhm.
priced. I mean, sometimes they have specials like all you can eat pasta. Sometimes people like to make a meal out of the breadsticks, the salad, and the soup, so you get all that unlimited sometimes. So
Oh,
it's
definitely utilize the free breadsticks and salad 100%. Like definitely make the most out of it. But yeah, give them a few more options at least.
yeah,
So yeah. Um,
yes,
Looking at the list, I'm seeing that there's a couple of other options apart from like takeaways and restaurants and stuff like that. I'm gonna be honest, when it comes to dating, it has been a while, but I do remember my dating life pre-marriage. It was pretty good. But anyway, I won't dwell on that too much. I actually didn't like going to restaurants for the first date. It wasn't something that I personally
okay,
like particularly enjoyed. Um, it's not because I eat like a pig or anything like that, and it's not because I like chose cheap restaurants or anything like that. It wasn't um yeah, it just wasn't the sort of place that because like I found you didn't really get to know the person as well as you could doing something else. So I mean, I know that you said that you have taken dates to a couple of these, and I would definitely take dates there. But first date, it's for me, it's questionable.
okay. I what I would always try to do, and maybe you disagree, but uh, dinner would be just part of the date.
Okay,
You know what I
okay,
mean? Like always have like some kind of other experience or doing something
yeah,
else first, and then dinner. But then sometimes, uh, you know, a restaurant is the best place to take somebody, in my personal opinion, just because if they don't know you that well, they'll feel more comfortable in a public
mhm.
place.
Oh, absolutely. The
So
public setting is a must for a first date. Um, I think if you're a man and you are meeting a woman for the first time and you're expecting them to go hiking up in the woods with you, no, I don't think that that's particularly appropriate of you to ask them because then you're going to ask them, they'll feel uncomfortable, then they'll either feel obliged to say yes, and then they'll feel uncomfortable, or they'll say no, and then you'll feel like rejected, and it's just it's lose lose. So I think men do need to be very mindful as to where they recommend the first date. I did like how you mentioned there about the fact that the restaurant is part of a bigger experience rather than just, hey, I'll meet you at Applebee's at 6 o'clock, and then you go there, you eat, and it's like, all right, that's been fun, see you later. If you have done something prior to the restaurant and then the date leads to the restaurant, you've already got to know that person and then they've accepted, hey, let's go grab a bite. I want to continue this. And that's great if it's part of the first date. But I think the initial meetup, I don't think should be at a restaurant personally.
right. Um. So this next one kind of piggybacks off of the points we just made. Number 6, the movies. Now, I would pair up dinner and a movie. And to be clear, this is talking about movies in a theater. This isn't like movies at your home because that's also on this list. Spoiler alert, but uh the movies. Now, some people have said that going to the movies is not a great first date because you're not getting to know the person, which is true. But pair it up with dinner afterwards.
You've got
What's great about that is if it's not going well or you're having trouble breaking the ice, you have the movie to talk about
absolutely, yeah,
during
100%.
dinner.
It is something to talk about afterwards. And it's all down to the individual as well, because you're obviously a massive movie nerd, I'm gonna say, in the best way. Like, you love your movies type thing, do you know what I mean? Whereas I'm
Yep.
not as much of a movie fan in that respect. I have different things that I enjoy doing. And it's, the top, I mean, the kind of women that you would probably take on a date, you would like to think would be more that way inclined. Like, they would like the movies and the comic books and that sort of thing. So you'd like to think that they would be like, yeah, okay, movies, that sounds great, let's do it. And then you go to Chili's afterwards, and you can have a chat. And if you're starting to struggle with like genuine small talk, it's like, what did you think of the movie? Like, I think the plot was this and the ending was that, and then yeah. So I think combined, a movie and a dinner, actually not too bad. If you've just got one or the other, then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's not so great. But I do like the whole combined dinner movie. I think that's acceptable.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say, even if it's not both, because let's face facts, things are expensive
Absolutely,
now.
yeah.
We've kind of talked about that at the beginning of this with how expensive like Cheesecake Factory's spaghetti is. The movies are expensive too. I don't know what it costs over in
So
Australia,
for a standard
but
ticket, you're probably looking at about at least $20, I'd say. And that's just for a standard movie. That's not for like a new release or anything like that. There are different levels of seating, so you can get like your luxury VIP seats where you've got the reclining chairs and you've got table service, and you've even got beds in some places. Um, they're more expensive. Yeah, yeah,
really,
100%. Yeah.
oh, okay,
Don't
we
get
don't have that here.
excited. It's all open. You can see everyone. It's not like that, but um, I mean,
That's a real
it's
great
pretty
first
hard
date.
though. It's like, hey, I've got this first date idea. We're going to watch the 50 Shades of Grey in the movies on a bed. It's like, and if they say yes, then it's just like, I'm going to marry you. No, but no, realistically, yeah, yeah. Movies can be expensive because not only is it the tickets, you got the drinks, you got the popcorn, you got the chocolates, you got the sweets potentially. Like, you could be looking at I don't want to call it a cheap date, but a sort of somewhat reserved date, and you could still easily drop $150 without even thinking about it on a like cheap date. So yeah, it's expensive, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like we said, if you're going to like try to take them to dinner, that's
That's
added on
another
top of it.
150
So,
easily. Yeah.
you yeah, it's crazy that, these things are on this list and they don't appreciate that some women don't appreciate the money
Yeah.
going into
Like,
this.
face value, it's like, oh, okay, there's some franchises and it's just a restaurant, but it's just like, hey, you get two drinks, you get a starter, you say appetizer, main, and a dessert. That's a lot of coin.
Mm-hmm.
That for some people that could be a day's work.
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh, easy. It could be almost their whole
possibly,
check
yeah,
when you think
yeah,
about it.
absolutely.
And yeah. So next on the list, we're on number 7.
My
Your
house.
house. Well, my house too. Our house in general. While I'm sure your house is great, I haven't been there. I have not been
I've
to
got a pool.
Australia yet.
It's pretty. Got a pool.
Hopefully someday.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You want to come for a skinny,
All right. All right. So
skinny
maybe
dip,
not your house.
or chunky dunk in my point.
That's a good one. But number 7, I do agree with, that is not a good date idea. Taking somebody to your
Yeah,
house for the first time.
totally
That's
agree.
probably
Totally agree.
no.
You don't want a woman to just like talking generally. Like, a woman shouldn't go to a male's house because they don't know what the hell they're walking into. And then secondly, you don't want to invite a man to your house because then he knows where you live. So for those reasons alone, your house, their house, it's not a good idea.
Exactly. Number 8, any fast food chain. I would kind of agree.
Yeah, look, I mean, if we're talking McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Wendy's, any of those types of places for a first date, uh no, it's not. It's not a great idea. It doesn't paint a very good picture as to what your future could be like with that person. I don't think personally. There's nothing wrong with those chains. Just want to throw that out there. I personally quite enjoy them. They're convenient, they're quick, but it's not. That's what it is. It's quick, it's fast, it's convenient. It's not somewhere that you want to sit down and engage in a conversation with someone for the first time.
Yeah, it's not a good look. You know, you can put a little bit more effort into a date.
For sure.
That's just not the place you want to take them. I mean, even though they're pretty expensive now too, everything's expensive.
Still drop
but
$80 at McDonald's. Like, jeez.
Yeah. So, the next one up on the list, number 9, Buffalo Wild Wings. Do you guys have Buffalo Wild Wings?
No, I can't say that we have,
Okay.
but I can picture the type of place that it might be.
So it's kind of like the other ones that we talked about. They're not. They have like something like 50 different sauces.
Nice.
Something like that. Yeah, so you can get your choice. I think they even have like burgers and stuff too, but it's kind of the same ambiance as the other ones. It's not cheap. Wings are very expensive. I'm sure chicken wings are expensive in your neck of the woods too.
I actually don't eat wings at all. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I actually don't like any meat on the bone. Don't like T-bone steaks, don't like lamb shanks, I don't like ribs, don't like wings. The way that I look at it is I've got to think too much about it, and I just want to get stuck in and dive in and not worry about eating around the bone. It's just like, I just want to get it in my neck, get it down my neck, and not worry about eating around the bone. So I'm a bit picky in that respect. So you couldn't take me to a Wild Wings. I wouldn't be happy if you took me to a Wild Wings on a first date.
Well, you can get burgers and chicken sandwiches and other stuff too. Sure. So I mean, they do have a little bit of everything, but they're they're mainly known for their wings. Kind of the same ambiance as the other ones. As a first date, I guess I would say it would depend on the girl.
Absolutely.
Because it kind of falls under that category we were talking about earlier with ribs.
Exactly the same. Yeah. No, I agree.
So I think it just depends on the girl. Next one is Wingstop. Now, this one I have not been to, but it's a chicken wing restaurant. So I don't know.
For me, I'd be honest, that would be a no from me again, if I'm honest. First date, chicken wing place. I don't know. Again, it depends on the girl. Like you say, there are some girls who would turn their nose up at that, and there are some girls who'd be like, "Hell yeah, I love Wingstop. Let's go." So, this list is very, some people might look at this and be like, "Hell, that'd be the top 28 places that I would want to go on a first date." So it's all, it's all personal choice at the end of the day. So it's not that we're saying that this is wrong. This is just our opinion on this list.
Yeah. Well, and basically what we're saying too is that the women that made this list are a little too picky.
Yeah, it definitely does seem that way. Especially now that you've told me the prices of these places, because I'll be honest with you, Chris, when I first saw the list, I was a little bit like, these are all pretty generic restaurant franchise type places. I didn't have a great understanding as to the cost for a start. But now that you've explained it a little bit more, the women that made this list need to have a little bit of a think. Who won? Where did this list come from, by the way, just so that I know? Are we allowed to mention them?
Yeah. As far as I know, I just saw this randomly on Facebook, but it was going around everywhere else. Mainly it started with that TikTok we were discussing with the lady being upset that she was taken
Gotcha.
to a
Okay, so
Cheesecake
it came
Factory.
from that. Okay.
But it started from there, and it led to other women agreeing with her and coming up with
Gotcha.
this
Okay.
list.
All right. Well, I'm glad I'm not dating in America.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it can be tricky. Next on the list, and this is kind of crazy. This one's on the list. Red Lobster. Red Lobster is. It blows my
Is that
mind that
expensive?
is on the list.
Okay.
Yeah,
Seafood, I'm assuming?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Lobster. Now, it seems to me, my personal opinion, um, the price has gone down
Okay.
from what it used to be. It used to be like really expensive, like $80 a person. But there are options now that are a
Okay.
little bit more affordable. But like back in the day, and we're not talking that long ago, this was the spot that women
Yeah,
wanted
right.
to go.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like they were like, oh, they would brag about to their other girlfriends, like, girl, he took me to Red Lobster. Seriously.
That like if my eyes were closed, you could have definitely been a female. You're very
Well, thank
welcome.
you.
You're very welcome. But yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. I guess like you said, times have changed and I think women's expectations have changed. Um, I'll be honest, seafood, I love seafood. Um, my wife absolutely adores seafood, and to be honest, if I'd have taken her to an upmarket seafood restaurant here in Australia, I think she would have been pretty happy with that, to be completely honest. Um, so yeah, to see that on there is, for me, that's a little bit disappointing, an upmarket seafood restaurant. But again, I guess you could say the same with like the wild wings. It's not seafood. It's messy. Like, I don't know, but yeah, no. I guess because I'm a seafood fan, I'm disappointed to see it on there. But that's just me.
I'm a little surprised again because, like what I said, it's not cheap. I mean, you can get a whole
Yeah.
lobster there, like,
Okay.
and it
Yep.
is a chain. So I mean, it's not like it's like going to Maine, or I'm sure you guys have
Oh, we
tons of
have
seafood
so many. It's
restaurants.
brilliant. It's
Uh,
Australian seafood is up there with the best, in my opinion.
yeah. So for it to be on
A
this
little bit.
list, it's a little mind blowing. Uh, Next is a buffet.
Are we talking all
I
are you
agree. I
talking
don't think a
all you can eat
buffet's.
buffet or yeah? It's like, hey, look how much I can
Yeah,
eat.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I don't think
yeah. First
that's
one up,
it.
last one
No,
back.
I don't think a buffet is an appropriate place. I think it's good for families who are looking to save a bit of money if you've got a cheap option there. Maybe if you're out with the boys or something, perhaps, but no, not for a first date. I don't think that that's appropriate. So I agree with that one.
Yeah, I concur. Uh, IHOP.
You hop?
Uh, I agree. Yeah, IHOP.
International
Do you have
has
IHOP?
pancakes, baby. No, I actually no. Sorry, maybe we do actually. Maybe we do. Either that, or I'm just reminiscing about being in America. But I understand the concept of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I wouldn't take
Well,
anybody on a first date there.
depends. So, hear me out. What if you've had a successful night out on the town? And by successful, I mean you have come home not alone. The lady has been lucky enough to spend the night, and then you wake up and you're like, "Hey, do you want to go and get breakfast at IHOP?" Is that classed as the first date, and is that bad? Like, I don't know. Is IHOP decent, or is it more
Uh,
fast foody type?
um, to answer your first question, I would say that that's not the
Okay,
first date.
okay,
Going to breakfast the next day, I think if in that scenario, then IHOP is
yeah,
perfectly acceptable. Um, IHOP is not like fast food; it's kind of
okay, good.
diner,
Yep.
like a diner. And that kind of falls into the next one, which is Denny's. They do have pancakes, but they have burgers and
But it's more like
shakes
a
and other
classic
kind of weird
American diner
sandwiches.
sort of style. Like, okay,
Yeah, and that's what they say. That's how they advertise Denny's.
okay,
Actually, is like
cool.
America's diner.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's probably a great place, but
so
not for a first date, really, in my opinion.
right. I can't. To me,
Okay,
those are kind of the same thing. I wouldn't. The next one
I don't know what
is
that
the
is. What's
gym.
that? Don't know what that place is. No. Um,
You don't know
nah, the
what that
gym.
place is.
No,
You don't want to. You wouldn't.
no way, no
No,
way.
no,
Like,
I
if
wouldn't.
you're taking someone to the gym for the first date, you just want to show off. You just want to show off. It's like you want to take your top off and you got your abs and you've got your pecs and your big muscles and look how much I can lift and like no, not on a first date. Like if things go well, they'll see all of that eventually anyway. I think there are definitely men out there that would or attempt to take the women to the gym, and there would be women out there that would be like, "Yeah, let's go to the gym. I want to see how much you can lift." But generally, and in my opinion, I think that would be an atrocious first date.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can't. Come on,
Yeah,
baby. Let me help
exactly.
you with your form.
No, and then we'll go get some protein shakes. We'll do some
Let's
protein
do
shakes
three
after.
sets.
You can shoot some steroids
Yeah,
into my ass.
I brought you a Quest bar.
Yeah, no, I think we're both on the same page with that one then.
Yeah, there's no redeeming that. Some of these other ones we kind of talked through scenarios, but
No
that one
way.
there's no redeeming. Just like I don't think there's any redeeming for this next one. Church.
Again, there will be people out there that would do that, but I am not religious. Um, I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm atheist, but I, yeah, no, the church for me is no, just just absolutely not for me. Yeah, I mean,
I,
you can't even talk. What's the point?
yeah, I yeah. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, hey, let's stop off and have a quick confession
Oh,
before
look how
we
much I
go.
donated. Look how much I donated to the church. Like, again, there will be people, and
Yeah,
I'm not mocking them. And if that's the way they want to live their life, then good for them. But for me personally, absolutely not. The church would be up there with the gym as far as places you should not go on dates. Not even second, third, fourth dates. Like,
yeah,
that's not the place to go on a date at all. The gym is somewhere to work out, exercise, get healthy. The church is somewhere to worship your God and to pray and ask for forgiveness or anything like that. It's not to create a relationship with someone else. It's
yeah,
to create a relationship with God at the church or to create a better relationship with yourself at the gym.
yeah. I 100% agree. I don't. I can't believe that there's somebody that actually wanted to take somebody to the church, but yeah,
Yep.
again, like you said, to each his own. Uh, so let's cover 17 and
Coffee.
18 together because
Yeah.
it's kind of weird that they're on here. Starbucks and coffee dates.
That is absolutely shocking that they are on this list. I personally, living in Australia now, coffee is a big part of the culture here. And I personally think that a coffee date is probably one of the better first dates you can have. It's affordable for a start. It's
Yeah,
affordable. It's going to be in a public place. Um, you can get a little bit of an idea of the type of person that you're going to be dating by the coffee that they drink. Like, Um, there's always people around, so you can do a bit of people watching, and it's easy to break the ice and stuff like that. But yeah, no, to be honest, I when I saw the list when you sent it over, I saw those, and my instant reaction to that was surely not. Surely those are not places women wouldn't want to go on. Like, come on, women, what are you doing?
yeah, yeah. Now, I do want to tell you a little bit of a story because I don't think I've ever told you this. A couple years ago, there was a girl who worked at a fast food place. Uh, she was interested in me, I had no clue until I got my food and they offered me extra napkins and she wrote her number on a napkin.
Smooth.
Okay. So, because at first it just kind of caught me off guard because, I watched them give me my bag and there was napkins in there and then they're like giving me more napkins and I'm like, bitch, I already got
Do I
napkins.
look like
I
a
don't
slob?
need
Like, what do I look like to you? Come on.
anymore. Yeah. So then the girl that gave it to me, she's like, "Oh, it's a different girl because the other girl was completely shy. They gave me her number was completely shy, but she's like, yeah, she made your food and she wanted you to give her a call sometime." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I attempted to give it a shot, and once we talked a little bit, the first actual date that I tried to make was a coffee date. Okay. So I was like, "You want to grab some coffee sometime?" And she turned me down. Like, not ready yet. Maybe soon. I don't
Okay,
know.
so have you finished before? Because you know me, I'll go off on a tangent. So have you finished? Okay. So
I
the way that I
finished.
see that is two different sides. First one is you said that she's shy and she may have got cold feet and she may have just been like legitimately too shy and nervous to go ahead with it because it happens. I've done it. Secondly, now don't
Oh
forget I
yeah.
love you, but she works at a coffee shop and then you've invited her to go to a coffee shop for a day.
Well, it wasn't a
Oh, it
coffee
wasn't.
shop that she worked at. I didn't say the place because
Okay,
I don't know if she's
gotcha. Okay,
listening.
gotcha. Okay, sorry. That
Yeah, no.
okay.
It
Well,
was a
that changes
restaurant.
things then. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Well, her loss, mate. Her loss.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I just found it weird that because I mean, I don't want it to seem like it went from me getting the number to like, hey, let's go for coffee. It was like
Yeah. Okay. It
a couple
wasn't
days of
instantly
texting.
like you walked out the door and
In
messaged her.
between.
No. So I'm gonna have some.
Yeah, like
I've
walk
got
out
some
and be
visitors
like, hey,
now, mate. So
what's that?
this is Maisie. Can you say hi to Chris? Say hi, Chris. He's in
Hey.
America. Oh, she's a little bit shy. She's a little bit shy, but
Hello,
she's
Maisie.
okay. Do you have a good day at daycare? Yeah. Okay. Can you go back in with mommy for a few minutes while Daddy talks to his friend? Thank you, darling.
Bye,
She
Maisie.
is the absolute apple of my eyes. Yeah.
I
Oh
can
my
tell.
goodness. Anyway, sorry to interrupt the show, bro.
Oh, no worries. So yeah, I find it weird that you know some people can go, especially in my case, kind of really put themselves out there, and then like I said, we talked for a couple days, and then when it was like, hey, coffee date, and it's like, maybe some other time, yeah, soon or whatever, and I'm
So
like,
so what happened with that? What
okay,
happened with
so
that? Where did that go after that?
it just
Just
kind of went
fizzled out?
downhill. It just kind of died because yeah, I mean, where do you go
Yeah, I
from
mean,
there?
you don't want to be really doing the chasing for someone that gave you their number initially. It's like, hey, you have shown this initial interest. Um, what's going on? Like, you don't want to get too invested in this person for them to like ghost you. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, especially when it wasn't like I did anything. Like it was just,
Zero wrong. Did absolutely zero wrong. So
it was weird.
yeah, like I said, her loss, brother. Her loss for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. Uh Next on the list is ice cream dates. Again, I think that's kind of weird that this is on the list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an absolute ice cream fiend. I absolutely adore ice cream. And it's similar to the Starbucks and coffee dates. Like it's pretty affordable. It's going to be in a public place. Generally speaking, it would be somewhere that has attractions or it's in like got nice scenery or something like that. You're not going down the back of this dodgy alleyway to an ice cream parlor. It's going to be somewhere in a nice setting. So like, yeah, man, like an ice cream date.
Yeah.
I think on a nice summer's day.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty acceptable in my opinion. So that's again that's yeah, nice
Yeah. Go
walk,
for a
sit down
walk.
on a nice bench, like show her your tongue work.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's incredible. Yeah.
uh, so
Okay, so I'll start off on this one. Again, it depends on the girl. Like, if this is a first date with someone that you've never met before, that would be weird. That'd be super weird. Let's say it's a family friend or it's someone you've known a while and they know certain members of your family. It could be kind of good to invite them there because then there are at least other people that they can talk to if it gets weird and awkward. But you don't want their attention to be taken from you entirely. Um, it depends on the type of family function. If it's like, hey, do you want to come to my granddad's funeral? No, probably not. But do you want to come to my auntie's birthday where I'm not going to really have many people to talk to anyway, type thing? So depends on the function, depends on the woman, depends on the season as well, really. Like, there's so many different factors that come into play. Um, but if someone had a gun to my head and said, should you take a woman to a family function on a first date or not, I'd probably have to say no.
okay.
Okay.
I would agree. I don't think there's any kind of family function that would work
Not
well
really,
for a
no.
first date. Yeah, I mean, even so, even if it's somebody that that you kind of knew, that's kind of like a family friend, kind of like what you were describing. I want all the attention to be on me. I don't want her to get kind of weird cold feet and then be like, oh well,
Yeah,
I
and
can
then
at
next
least
thing you
talk
know,
to his
you see them
cousin.
leave together, and you're
You
like, "What the
know,
fuck are you doing?"
yeah.
That would not be a good time. That would not be a good time.
Then you got to whoop your cousin's ass,
It doesn't
and
end well. It wouldn't end well. No. So that one, I can agree with.
no, it
I can
doesn't.
agree with for
So,
sure.
no, yeah. Uh, let's see here. 21 movie night. Now, this is where it's Netflix, Hulu, etc. So a streaming service, meaning going to somebody's house and
I
Netflix and
mean,
chilling.
look, if that's what you want to do, if you want to Netflix and chill, then yeah, go for your life. But like, if depends on the type of relationship that you want. Like, a first date to me means that there is the expectation that there would hopefully be more. If it's going to be just a Netflix and chill scenario, I wouldn't even consider that a date. That's just a hookup. So, if you want to do a hookup, then yeah, sure. We'll go to someone's house. We'll Netflix for a little bit, and then we'll get it on. But I don't think that could be considered a date personally. A first date, certainly not.
Yeah, so personally, for like a movie night, that's the reason why theaters are there. If you really want to watch
Agreed.
something with somebody, take them
Yeah.
to the movies. That's it's not a good idea for Netflix and chilling on the first date.
No, it's not the best. Now I have a beautiful little girl just crying. Oh, maybe keep down. Are you okay? What happened? This is going to be on the World Wide Web now, and people are going to be able to hear you. Oh, my darling. Are you okay? What happened? Did you hurt yourself? You hurt your head? Whereabouts? Can you show me? You hurt over there? Oh, you'll be okay. Come here. I like your hair today. It's very pretty. Oh, that's big cuddles.
No.
She loves cuddles from her dad.
Aw.
She's a tough girl. She's okay. Sorry about that there, guys. Daddy Judas.
It's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to talk about number 22.
Number 22, somewhere that
What is number
requires a
22?
long drive. No, I strongly urge all women to refuse dates, first dates especially, that require a long drive. Even if it's somewhere picturesque, um, even if it's to an amazing attraction or something like that. I think first date, keep it close to home, keep it somewhere where you're familiar with, uh, keep it somewhere that you can easily get away from if need be. Yeah, somewhere that requires a long drive. Save that until you're extremely comfortable with this person. And I'd even suggest maybe driving yourself and meet them there, even after a fair few dates. Have your own way of getting home. Don't get in the car with someone, even after a handful of dates. Just be very, very mindful of that, I think.
Okay. I partially agree with
Yeah, no, I do.
this being on the list. But I partially disagree as well because that's kind of like what we've been talking about the entire time. It depends on the girl, the circumstances, what you got going on. It actually ties into something later on the list that we can.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
might as well get into it now. We'll skip ahead and then we'll go back. Number
Okay.
28, sports events. Now, the reason why I say I partially agree with the long drives thing is because here, the Buffalo Bills are very popular. Buffalo is about a 2 hour drive away. And depending on if the girl that you're interested in is into sports, there's also other sports up around here too, like for hockey, the Sabres, that's also in Buffalo. Um, it depends. I get what you're saying, and I wholeheartedly agree with it. Ladies, if you're listening, Elliot is right. Be very careful. But at the same time, you know, sporting events and long drives kind of go hand in hand in this
Fair enough.
area.
That's yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. You go into somewhere where there's going to be a lot of other people. Um, Again, though, going back to the point that I made before, I would definitely recommend driving yourself and meeting them there so that you have your own way of getting home. For sure, that for me is a non-negotiable. Really, like you take your car, they take theirs, you meet somewhere public. Um, yeah, so that's what I would say. But I'm a massive sports fan. Like I love going to sporting events. First date, yeah, it could be that could be kind of cool, man. Like I think that'd be pretty good. Like as long as you're not some absolutely crazy football lunatic that's going to go around like starting fights and mouthing off to other people. But if you're just there to enjoy the vibe and the game itself, and again, it depends on the lady and stuff. But yeah, I think sporting event. I think that's a shame to see that on the list for sure.
yeah. I mean, and again, that's another one I can see like
Yeah,
both sides of. I mean, she's got to definitely be into it.
absolutely,
It can't just be something you're into
absolutely.
or that she's just into. You both have to
Yeah, I
be
would say
avid
so.
fans. And I would think it, yeah, I would almost think that
Yeah,
it's what draws you together,
definitely.
to be honest. So, yeah. So we'll go back up to
Yeah,
number 23, bowling.
that's a good date night.
Do you have bowling in Australia?
No, what is that? What is that? No, yeah, bowling is pretty popular here actually in Australia. I mean, I don't. I look, it's okay for me. I don't mind it. It's not really neither here nor there for me. But for a first date, I don't see the problem. Again, unless you're like uber competitive and you start going over the top with things. But if you're just there to have a good time, just chill, you know, you don't have to constantly be talking to someone, which on a first date can get awkward. There can be some awkward silences. Whereas at least with the bowling, you've got a little bit of a break in play if you want. You've got something to talk about as well in the game itself. Generally, there's other people around, and you can sort of start to form a bit of a chat with the people next to you or something like that. So, it's a public space. Affordability wise, I'm not sure what it's like in America, but it's not overly expensive here in Australia, so it's a pretty good, cheaper ish option.
Agreed. It's pretty cheap here. You're going to spend more on the shoe rentals
Right?
and
Yeah, the actual
and the
game.
beer than you are
Yeah, for sure.
than the game. So I agree. I think it's fun. A little bit of activity, a little bit
Absolutely.
of fun
Yeah,
competitiveness. I think it's a good icebreaker. As long as you're not one of those
exactly.
overly competitive people, like you said, to just be like, strike
Take that,
in
you
your
suck.
face.
And they're like, well, I might suck at bowling, but I don't
You
suck anything
suck.
else. So that's what's going to happen if you do
I,
that.
yeah, you can't just be like, what
Yeah,
happened?
no,
How'd your ball get in the gutter?
So no,
Oh, yeah,
bowling
that's
is
not
a
going to
good
work.
date night,
So,
generally speaking. First date. I
yeah,
disagree with that being on the list.
yep. Next one on the list
Completely
is
agree with
nightclubs.
that being on the list. I do not think that a nightclub is a good setting to go on a first date. Um, my reasons are people are getting intoxicated. There are going to be multiple people of the opposite sex out, so your eyes are going to naturally wander. You're not going to have that person's attention. It's loud. You can't talk properly. Floors are sticky. Like, it's just a no. Like, look, if you want to meet someone at a nightclub, like, not decide to meet, but it's like you're there, they're there at the same time. You catch up. It's like, hey, you want a drink? Like, but an organized date. Hey, I'll meet you at this club at midnight. No. So for me, that number 24 nightclubs, that should be on the list.
Okay. I can kind of see it coming from a safety thing where,
Yeah.
the girl's going to want to be in public, but it's not
Not for a
like my
first date.
ideal
Again,
spot.
a couple of dates into
Uh,
the relationship, possibly, but not a first date. Not a first date for me.
yeah, agreed. Okay, a hookah bar is number 25.
I love a good hookah. Hooker. I love a good hooker. Yeah. No,
Really?
the shisha hookah style of smoking.
Oh,
I don't smoke. I never have. I've had a couple of cheeky cigars in my time, but I think the
yeah,
hookah and shisha vibe is actually very cool. Like, I quite like it. Um, Public. It's going to be in a public place. I'm not sure of the cost in America. Sorry, in Australia, it's okay. It's cool,
I've
man. Look,
never been, so
have
I
you ever
don't know.
smoked hookah or shisha?
Um,
Never. No. Okay. Yeah, it's like you can get
nope.
all different types of tobacco, but
No.
yeah, like if you want a nice fruity, it's kind of like the original vape. It's like the old school traditional style of. I don't want to associate it with vaping because vaping is absolutely despicable in so many ways. Um, for,
Okay. I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Just
well,
never
Chris,
have
I,
partaken in it.
I
I've
challenge you,
never been to
even
a
if you're
hookah
on your
bar.
own. In fact, especially if you're on your own, I challenge you to go to a hookah bar or sheesh bar on your own and just take it all in because it's a good vibe, man. Yeah. So for me, that's a yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that being on there,
All right.
I can kind of understand why it would be on the list, but for me personally, and the way that I like to socialize and do stuff, that's a bit disappointing for me to see it on there. I'd like to take a girl there for a date. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why it's on there. I mean, if she's not
Absolutely. Yeah.
into, that's
Hundred
not her
percent.
thing,
100%.
that then, I can see why why she wouldn't want to go. Excuse me. Next one is a little surprising for me. A bar for just
Do
drinks.
you want me to? Do you want me to start? Or
You may
so
start,
yeah.
sir.
I mean, look, I can sort of see where women are coming from with quite a few of these because they are giving up their time, and time is precious because it's the only thing you can't get back. You can't get time back, so they're giving up their time to do their makeup, do their hair, sort their clothes out. Like, I understand for women, it takes a fair amount of effort to get ready, and you're giving that time to someone. And I think for some of these, there's not much thought gone into them. Really, it's just a quick, it's just a quick fix. So I do. So like the bar for just drinks. Again, it depends on the woman. Like it depends. Like yeah, what are they after? What are you after? If you want something more long term, if you want something more long term as a man, I think that there could be a little bit more effort. But then at the same time, you've got to be careful. You don't want to put too much effort in because then the woman either then expects that kind of effort all the time and you've set yourself up for failure, or you've set yourself up for financial ruin because everything's so bloody expensive. There's such a fine line with like what is a good and acceptable first date because like we've said before, every woman's different. So one woman might absolutely love going to a bar for just drinks. Another woman might think that's the worst possible thing that you could do. She wants to go to the gym. So these 28 options that we have here on this list, it, you know, it's all down to everyone else's sort of opinion. Like that's all it is. It's just an opinion. But again, if it was me, I have taken girls to a
That's
bar
true.
just for drinks on a first date. Like I have done that. And looking back now, it's like, was that the right idea? And it's like, you know what? Actually, yeah, it was because we had a great time. Did it end up, turning into anything? No, it didn't. But that's not because I took her to a bar for just drinks. We actually had a fantastic time. And it was because we did that we actually progressed further. Um, but yeah, like a bar for just drinks depends on the girl, depends on the bar, depends on there's so many factors in play. So that one being there, that's a really good option for men, realistically. So for that to be on the list again, it's a little bit disappointing. I think that really takes away the options that men have.
I actually think it's a good idea. I'm fairly cost effective, but I mean, it's a public place, so everybody can be safe. A couple drinks, maybe share an appetizer, because who doesn't love mozzarella sticks? And or whatever you choose. And it's a good way to get to know somebody over a beverage.
So personally, I think this last one, is going to be a pretty quick fix. I know my opinion on it. Let's see yours.
Okay. All right. Waffle House. I agree with that being on the list.
Yeah, I concur. Similar establishment to IHOP. I'm assuming we don't have it here in Australia, but it's like a breakfast restaurant chain type place.
In theory, but IHOP is a little bit higher class. Waffle House is good, but it's extremely cheap.
So yeah, no, not a good first date option. I don't think.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Well, I guess that's 28 covered then. It's a shame that it was so broken because I was definitely enjoying the chat, and I think for the first time ever, actually, we have had a little bit of a difference of opinions, which is it's a little refreshing actually. Instead of agreeing on everything all the
Oh
time,
yeah. Yeah.
100%.
And that's what's great is that we can have those differences of opinion, but
Absolutely. Still love each other.
yeah. That's right.
For sure.
Yes.
So
with I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, yeah. So like, it's your show, brother. You lead the way.
Okay. So with that being said, now that we've gone through these options, ladies, where do you want to go? You've told us like where we shouldn't take you. A lot of those are very odd and should not have been on the list. There's probably about 5 that should have been, church, gym, home. But what is a good place? What are you looking for?
Are you talking to me? What am I looking for a first date?
No, it was no, I was talking to the women, but now that you're
Look, so for what I would do now, if I went back into the dating world now, obviously, again, as we've alluded to, the women that you meet are going to want different things. I think what would be a good idea for men going forward is because ultimately women like a man that can make a decision. I think that's quite important to a woman that's looking for a potential partner. They want a man that can make a decision, and a good one at that. So it's pretty difficult for a man to, that's a lot of pressure for a guy. So I think what men could do is pick 3 options, 3 different options. It could be, again, this is all dependent on the woman, but
blonde,
just
brunette, redhead.
blonde, brunette, redhead for me every day of the week. Don't tell my wife that though. No, I think what a man could do would be give the woman a choice of 3. It's like, hey, look, I've organised these 3 dates. Which one of the 3 would you most like to do? I've got a coffee date at a local cafe in town. I've got an activity which is like we do in Australia called paint and sip. So you go to a venue, you do you're in a group of people, you all do some painting, you paint the same picture whilst drinking wine, and then at the end you compare the
Oh yeah,
pictures
we
to
got
everyone
that.
else's. Yeah, so you could do something like that, or you could go to, I don't know, you could go to a museum, let's say. So obviously you could pick, or you could go on something a little bit more adventurous or something like that. But yeah, I think giving the woman, like making the decision ultimately of the three, but then giving the control back to the woman, I think that they would quite like that because ultimately women like to have control, in my experience. They're pretty controlling, like generally speaking. So I think if you make those decisions and then give that control back to the woman, they then choose the date and they've ultimately had the final say. But you're the one that's made choices so that you've shown, hey, look, I can think for myself. I can come up with some ideas. And I mean, the options that I gave were very basic and very generic. But like, yeah, I think giving the woman choices is a good way to go. And that's probably what I would do now. Is I would be like, hey, look, these are some ideas that I've got. Of these three, which one would you most like to do? And then they choose that one. That's the one that you go and do. So I did hear oh, I can't remember where I heard it, but it was basically saying to the woman something along the lines of, "Hey, guess where I'm taking you for dinner?" The first place they say is the place you then take them to dinner. Because if they say, I don't know, Red Lobster, and they're all excited, it's like, yes, that's where I'm taking you. We're going to Red Lobster because then it makes it look like you've made the choice, but ultimately they've basically told you where they want to go, pretty much. If they say, "Oh, you're not taking me to Olive Garden, are you?" Then it's just like, "No, of course not. Keep guessing," and then eventually you'll get your answer.
Yeah, I mean that's sound advice. I agree. Um, and at the same time, for the guys that are listening to this, don't be discouraged by what's on this list. Cheesecake Factory, Chili's, Applebee's. Those are all very good date choices. If you are taking a woman out and she's complaining about those places, she's not the right person. Take her back home where you got her from.
I
Would you
agree.
agree?
No, I definitely, yeah, 100%. Look, I think that women can be, yeah, they can be too demanding. They need to respect the fact that men, the man that she's going out with has earned that money. He's choosing to take her to this venue, to this restaurant. And if that's not good enough for her, then I think she needs to really look at herself more than the person that she is going on this date with. Um, the
Yeah.
expectations of women can be way too high. Like you see clips online now where a woman on the street will be interviewed. How much does a man need to make annually to have a chance with you? And some of the figures that I've heard these women throwing around is absolutely atrocious, whether it's in jest or not. But I've seen women that have said he needs to make 500,000, he needs to make 300,000, he needs to spend 500,000 on a ring. Like, get over yourselves. That is not happening. Be realistic.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I mean, I've seen videos where they're judging a guy based on what type of phone he has. If he has an Android phone, it's a no go. He's got to have Apple.
Yeah, I saw that
Uh,
one. That's comical. Like that really is. That I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I'm an iPhone fan myself, but yeah, if a woman's got an Android, I'm not going to judge her on that.
well, right. And same thing here. Yeah, yeah. I tease you, but yeah, it makes no difference. I mean, I've seen terrible posts from people on my feed, which is like, uh, you know, if he's not just giving me $100 just because, he's broke. Like broke guys are the worst.
I mean, what? It's literally just meeting up. Here's $100. Like he's paying for their time. Are they hookers? Like that's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Bit harsh, Elliot, but no. Come on,
No, but
girls.
I mean it's just if they're not, that's the mindset, is like if the guy is not spending a ton of money, then he's worthless. If he doesn't have money, and they've actually said, broke guys, nothing's worse than a broke guy. And I was like, well, I think there are some things worse than broke guys.
Definitely. I think a good woman would be more than happy with a walk in the park. Realistically, you don't need money to show the type of qualities that you have as a man at all.
Exactly. 100%. So I think we're going to put a pin in it there. I think we've got I think we should put a pin in it there. I think we've made our point.
Definitely.
Yep. Elliot, my man, thank you so much for being on the channel and on the podcast. I appreciate it. And any final words for the guys?
Like Chris said, don't be disheartened. This list is a random list that has been created by a small section of women, probably created by one woman, and then people have jumped on it, but it's not the be all and end all. So yeah, don't be disheartened. But I will say, get creative if you can. Try and be creative. And yeah, just keep your chin up. There's plenty of fish in the sea.
Don't chase them, replace them.
That's it, man. That is absolutely it.
All right. Well, thank you again, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you for having me, Chris. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, I look forward to the next time.
Awesome. See ya.
Okay. All right, see you later, bro.